Hello, my name is Crystal Petry, and you are watching another episode of the Crystal Petry Podcast, Season 3. On today's podcast, we are going to show how human creativity and artificial intelligence, or AI, can join forces instead of competing. Today, we're diving deep with an extraordinary guest, a visionary artist and technologist whose work with Microsoft and believes AI isn't here to replace us, but to partner with us. From coding to painting majestic horses, she's redefining what collaboration between art and technology can truly look like. Laurie Kenley, welcome to the podcast. How
Thank
are you?
you. Oh my God, I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm just going to be honest with you, Laurie, and I know I sent this in an email. I really just want to talk to you about painting these horses, but we but we gonna talk about AI and technology and all the things, but we're gonna get to these horses.
That's right.
Okay, so Laurie, where in the world are you?
I am in Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus. Okay. So you have said that AI won't replace us, but will partner with us. Can you explain that to us, please? Why do you think that way? Why do you feel that way?
Absolutely. So I everything we're going to talk about today is going to be about creation.
Okay.
And whether it's creating systems, whether it's creating dinner, whatever it is, humans create.
Yes.
Humans create. Everything that has ever been created in the history of the world has been created by humans. And the difference between humans is that they create and
Mhm.
AI generates, right?
Mm.
Nothing new and different. Like the weird imaginative leaps like painting horses or whatever, right? AI can't necessarily do those things without the partnership of a human. You notice that we prompt them and
Yes.
then they generate. So we create and they generate. It is a symbiotic relationship. And I understand that like corporate folks want to oh, I'm going to replace these workers with AI. I promise you, you're not. Not well.
Yes. Okay, so you worked with or for whatever language you want to use there. You work with Microsoft, which I'm sure most people know is a technology juggernaut at this point. How did working with Microsoft shape your views on relationships between humans and machines or humans and technology?
Excuse me, I'm dealing with a cold, so I apologize. Um, so I started working in automation 20 years ago. Um, and I kind of followed my passion all the way up through um, financial crimes, cybersecurity, et cetera, and landed at Microsoft. And I worked at Microsoft for 3 years. And what I found at Microsoft is that the volume of data that an entity like Microsoft or JP Morgan, which is one of the places I worked at as well, has to handle cannot be handled by humans. It's just so much. And so when you think about cybersecurity, for example, I worked in regulated industries in the large banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, et cetera. And there was an article from JP Morgan that they got 1 trillion signals, cybersecurity signals per day. Like,
What?
right, a human
I
cannot
can't even
process.
comprehend that.
Right, no. And so we need robots to be able to, we needed these AIs to be able to parse this data to tell us what's important. And so I've been working with machine learning and predictive AI for a very long time,
Mhm.
simply because of the volume of data that has had to flow through. And so generative AI, which is only 3 years old this month, by the way, like it seems like we've had ChatGPT forever, but this is its third birthday in November. So happy
So
birthday.
happy birthday, Chat GPT.
Yes. And so what like my relationship to machines, to AI, et cetera, has always been as an assistive aid for human, both human creation and human discernment, right? Like this, these machines can surface what does, like, in a trillion signals, what's important? What's important? What merits human attention? And so I think that pattern has already been very clearly delimited in the past, where a machine supports a human in focusing their attention. And I would say, you asked me how that changed at Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is that as generative AI showed up, right, Copilot was one of the very first conversational AIs put out because Microsoft partnered with OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT. I found that, I'm going to be a little snarky for a minute. Okay, bear with me. The best people that I worked with there used it to assist themselves, and the less than best people used it to do the work for them. And so it kind of became this thing where if you got a wall of text from somebody, it was a little bit of an F you, like, you're not worth my time.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, you asked me a question, I just popped into Copilot, here's the answer, bye. And so it kind of created this disparity between those of us who used it to accelerate ourselves and those of us who used it to replace ourselves. So just this is my little warning. When you're using it to replace your relationships with people, don't.
You know what? That falls really right into my next my next question, Laurie. What are some misunderstandings that people have when it comes to AI and the creativity and the innovation?
I love this question. I love your questions. Then when you sent me those questions, I was like, yes, these are great questions.
Yes.
So there's two ends of the spectrum here.
Okay.
AI knows everything and AI knows nothing. And those are the two misconceptions. And so how I talk about this with people is that it's really important to understand that AI is kind of like your neighbor, Bob.
Okay.
And so if you have lived next to Bob for, 10 years, and you talk over the fence now and then, and you mention to Bob, hey, I'm going to Paris. And Bob says, you know what? I went to Paris with my wife. Would you like to see my itinerary? And you say, sure. Bob's going to give you that itinerary. But what you would not do ever is just go take that itinerary and go book every single thing that Bob did.
Correct.
You would never do that. You would be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, not for me. Oh, is this available in November when I'm going versus Bob when in April? You would practice discernment. You would do some research. It's really important that you do that. If you put into ChatGPT or whatever AI, Gemini, Grok, whatever, a Paris itinerary, don't just go on faith. That robot doesn't know nothing. It's never been in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And just like your neighbor, Bob, you might even just have different tastes. So Correct. It's really important on this side of AI knows everything. I promise you, honey, it does not. So practice discernment, treat it like your neighbor, Bob, do your due diligence. Now on the other side, oh, AI's fake, it knows nothing. Okay, no. If you are still in that space, I invite you to come out of that space, because the challenge is, like, this is here to stay. If you look at the economy right now, like yesterday, for example, the whole world was holding its breath for NVIDIA to announce its earnings to see what it would do to the stock market in the United States, because it is the backbone of AI, and that is in the US right now. So it ain't going nowhere. And so what I would say is, if you are skeptical, good. But if I'll never use it and I'll take that to my grave, please don't. It's like not wanting to use Google back in the day, right? Or like, I'm going to date myself here. MapQuest, right? No, I'm going to use a real map, not this. So AI knows everything, AI knows nothing. It's right in the middle. It is a useful tool and practice discernment.
Do you think AI will ever understand human emotion? And I say that because most people don't understand human emotion, but that's a whole nother podcast, Laurie.
That's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. Do you think AI will ever understand human emotion, or does it simply reflect what we feed it? Like you stated earlier, just what we're giving it?
I think I'm going to break that into two parts.
Okay.
It understands human emotion very well. And the way that AI understands human emotion is called a semantic engine. And so back in the day, God, again, I'm dating myself. Back in the day, I was part of a project where we were working with a tech company. I think it was at JP Morgan then. And we were training a voice system to understand inflection in voice.
Okay.
And we were saying, okay, when a customer is angry, here's an angry voice, and here's what you do when you're an angry voice, and here's an uncertain voice, and here's what you do. And so that technology has been around for a while. So when we say, does AI understand it? Yes. However, it doesn't feel anything, right? It is matching your energy. And what I've found in my own work as I'm developing my own products, I left Microsoft about a year ago to go play for a year because I wanted to know what I wanted to do next. But I've still kept my foot in the tech realm and done a bit of light AI consulting here and there. And what I've found is that these conversational AIs match your energy so well that what I will say is that I found that an AI that you're using to do work with, you talk to it the way you wish you could talk to your coworkers.
Oh.
Not the way you do talk to your coworkers, but the way you wish you could. And so what will happen over time is that AI believes that is how you want to be addressed. And so it will match that energy. So anytime somebody comes to me and says, wow, my AI is just really abrupt with me.
I wonder why.
Look within, darling, look within. And as I'm building my product, what I've found is when people use a conversational AI to do personal work, like, you're asking it about, how should I approach this problem in my marriage? How should I do that? You talk to it the way you talk to yourself. And so self-talk is brutal. I've literally had to write an entire agent to combat the harsh self-talk people have. And so it can understand and reflect those emotions, but it's not feeling anything. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't have experience, right? Like, so if we're talking about how my mom died and I'm having a conversation with you about it, right? You understand that is incredible pain, and like you can feel the empathy of that pain.
Right.
The AI just knows it's painful. So it is intellectual versus emotional. And I know that was a long answer, but I think it's really important because I know a lot of people are like, oh, AI just understands me. Yes, it does. It does. And it's not feeling anything, buddy. It's not a human.
It's not a human. And I'm telling you, Laurie, sometimes the intellectual is what you need.
Yes.
It's what you need, especially in that moment, whatever that moment or situation is, you need the intellectual. How do you see AI empowering underrepresented artists and voices in this creative world?
Oh, man. This, again, good question. So if you are, I just want to speak directly to those people right now.
Okay.
I know a lot of artists. I know a lot of creators. Whatever you're creating, right? Whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's pictures, whether it's paintings, whether it's books, are like, hell no, never AI. It can help you in all of the places where you're employing a system. I think we like to think about art as if it is like, oh, this airy-fairy thing. Art is very systemic, right? If you're thinking about color theory, you're thinking about plotting something. If you're thinking about where are you going, like just think about writing a book, like, and you would like to make money for this book. Like market research is a great place to use AI. Story structure is a really great place to use AI. Voice analysis, does this have momentum, right? Is this going to keep a reader gripped? And where could I use this to help me accelerate that? And so as I watch a lot of these artists and creative types just be like, I'd rather die. Literally Guillermo del Toro, the filmmaker who just made Frankenstein. He's like, I'd rather die than use AI. And I'm like, oh, buddy, it will not replace your creativity, but
Mm-hmm.
it can do some of the logistical work for you. And so when I think about minority voices, diverse voices, artistic voices, anybody but white tech bros, I'm just going to say it, anybody but white tech bros, what I want you to know is that if you're getting wrapped around the axle of how AI works, don't bother. Don't worry about large language models. Don't worry about training. Don't worry about, it's not going to steal your data. Like, what I want you to think about is anything you can explain to someone else, even to yourself. If you can explain it in words, you can explain it to an AI. And so, for example, an author that I was just working with, she needed to do 238 footnotes for her book and needed it to have back to her editor in 24 hours. And she was freaking out. And I was like, girl, let's just do it with Claude. And we did it with Claude. And she did it on an airplane. And it wasn't that I had some magic AI. I was like, I handed her my phone. I'm like, tell the robot what you need. And she just talked into my phone, just voice to text. And it just gave her the framework for how to do it. And so right now, it's a force multiplier for creativity. It can take pain off of your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start using it now, the acceleration that it can give you, the implementation, like the speed to implementation, the time to art goes down, right? That is the kind of force multiplier that generates wealth. The faster you bring things to market, the more precise you can be with what you bring to market, right? That is the force multiplier that generates wealth in the market. So I beg you, use it. Don't be afraid of it. Experiment with it.
Yes. Let's talk about educators. We talked about the creatives. So how can teachers help the next generation? So we're talking about, the kids that are in school now, basically. How can educators help the next generation see AI as a tool for empowerment rather than a threat or a means of cheating?
Mm-hmm. That one's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's because the educators themselves don't get any training. Like no one has actually taken these educators and said, here's how you use this. Here's the art of the possible. Here's how you can, lesson plans. Like teachers, you are hitting me on every level. Teachers do so much unpaid work. So much unpaid work, right?
It's true.
And so things like lesson plans, reading lists, like all of these things that they have to do after hours because they're busy teaching, it can help them accelerate those kind of time-consuming tasks. Let it help you with research.
Yes.
And so teachers, let it help you with research, let it help you with lesson planning, let it help you. Don't have it do it for you, right? Like that's the key with AI. Let it assist you. Don't let it do it for you because then you won't know, right? And I was having a conversation at Epic Universe in Orlando, of all places. We were in the hotel and I was talking to a mom and her son who was just going into college. He had just graduated high school and he was going into Purdue in the fall. And he asked me that question, how can I use this for anything other than cheating? And I was like, let it help you form your ideas, but they must be your ideas. Like you're the creator, right? You're the creator. And I want to talk about the path of an idea for a hot minute. So say there's a 0 to 10 path, right? So 0, I have a thought. Oh my God, I should do this. And 10, it's alive in the world. It's out there. AI can help you get from 0 to 5, that first draft, so fast. From the moment you have an idea to the moment you have a first draft, boom, 5 minutes. And you don't have to research you don't have to crack open a book or Google or whatever, right? It can just help you do that. So getting to a first draft to help you form your thoughts, to help you iterate upon your idea. So if 0 to 5 is first draft, 6 is when you start editing. 7 is when you get feedback from others, right? Like, hey, can you look at this and tell me, if I'm being wild?
Right.
And like 8 is like, I feel pretty solid about this. And 9 is where you turn it in. 10 is when you get your grade. That 0 to 5 pace goes so fast with AI, but you must take it from 6 to 10 yourself with humans.
Yes. And the important part that I feel like you spoke about, Laurie, was you actually doing it.
Yes.
Don't let AI or technology do it for you, but you are actually doing it. You're just getting help to flush out the ideas.
Yes. You create, AI accelerates.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Okay. What ethical boundaries? Now, this is a big one. We've been hearing about this in the news a ton. What ethical boundaries do you think people should consider when using AI? Because, well, using AI, but also using AI generated content. Because we have, people are starting to use AI as artists, singing artists, and just this other stuff, and people are saying, well, that's not real and it's not authentic and it's not really you, but the artists are saying it is me, it's my song, I wrote the song, I did this. But what's the ethical boundary here?
All right, we're going to break this into 3 pieces.
Yes.
So you know how I said AI is here to stay?
Yes, and I believe you.
Well, AI accelerated art is also here to stay. And the longer that we fight about whether it's authentic or not, like every second that people spend squabbling about whether it's authentic is a second they're not creating anything. So zip it and go make something. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, okay, every second you're yapping on the internet, you're not doing anything but yapping on the internet. Please go touch some grass, go do something, right? And so
go do something.
Yeah, go do something. But really, I think what I'm already seeing is kind of a renaissance of craft. And so, for example, me and my business, I commissioned an artist who does incredible line work to make me 15 pieces. The astrology, right? The pieces of the zodiac. And
okay. Yes.
I have gone online and like generated something? Sure. But that's not what I want. What I believe we will find is that there will be a whole slew of AI created, AI assisted, AI accelerated, and no AI art of every kind. And people will know the difference. You can't not see it. You just can't not see it, right? And so there are going to be people that are going to want each kind. And how I'm thinking about my business, my product, etc., is that the most premium version of everything I can buy is created by a human because it's going to be more rare.
That's true.
And so I say there is a place for every single piece along that stream. There is a place for, like, if you look at my LinkedIn photos, like I like generate a quick little thing in Canva that's silly and cute. Because that's what I was looking for. And at the other end of the spectrum, I'm paying an artist a lot of money to make me beautiful drawings because I want people to know that I value them enough to send them something that someone made.
Oh, wow. Yes, yes. Okay, let's talk about your work in Microsoft for a little bit. So tell us about your journey working with Microsoft and what were some of the most groundbreaking projects or insights you took from that experience?
Yeah. So I focused on banking, cybersecurity in highly regulated banks that are called GSIBs. So your big money centers, right? Your JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, et cetera. There's 6 of them in the United States banking space. And so I focused on those and their problems and their projects. And I would say the biggest thing that I learned is that the state of our banking industry is still really, really, like, they're not quite ready for great big AI initiatives. And it's really interesting to me to see, working at Microsoft, which is AI down to the ground, right? Like being in Microsoft and everything is automated. Everything is so frictionless. Like I went from highly regulated industry to working at the vendor, and even something like logging into my desktop at the banks that I worked in could take 3 minutes, and then they had to boot up and whatever. And then when I worked at Microsoft, I could be doing everything I needed to do from the pool in Las Vegas from my phone.
Wow.
Yeah. And I worked in very sensitive stuff, right? And so, it's technology is so much farther. There's a great divide between like the way the tech people live and the way everyone else lives and works.
Mhm.
And it was really interesting to see just going over literally overnight, stop on a Friday here at a bank and start on a Monday here at Microsoft. And it took me 5 minutes to be onboarded. Like Monday morning, fired up my thing, talked to my boss real quick. He gave me a password. Everything worked out of the gate. Not a single hitch.
You know what? I don't think that's ever been heard of before. When you start at a new place, it takes days and weeks.
Yes. And so, one of the powers of like coming from industry into tech is that that's what I would tell my customers. And I'm like, they would ask me, what is your biggest thing? And I was like, dude, guess what? The Microsoft people who had never actually worked in the industry were like, oh yeah, that's just how it works. I'm like, but you don't understand, It's
Yeah.
the friction-free life of actually using, and it was all Microsoft products, right? Like it was really easy for me to, I worked in solution sales there, which is like helping them figure out, okay, you guys need to do this, and here are the 10 things and the services that will help you do that, right?
Okay.
But it was really easy for me because now I was like, dude, it just does this. It's just like magic. And it's that was the most revolutionary thing. And people like expect it to be like some magical AI thing, but no, it was just the complete lack of friction.
Okay, so working at Microsoft, what lessons did you learn about diversity and inclusion there?
Oh man, so many good ones. What I found, it's really interesting. So being at a vendor and then working with your customers, but then you're also working with various partners. And I remember being in a meeting with one of those, a big four consulting firm. And everyone in the big four consulting firm was an older, like an older white man in a perfect suit.
Yes.
And meanwhile, our account team for this large customer had not a single white man on it. It was women. It was people of color. It just was a really interesting moment because we were on teams, right? And so I could see their side was uniform, one model, man. Yes. And our side was just a plethora of people. And I realized you guys selected for type and we selected for excellence. And it didn't matter what package that excellence came in. And I remember at one point, the lead consultant barked an order at the one woman that was on the team. And all of the leadership on our account team were female. And we all went, we literally ready to fight that man for this.
I promise I just got that visual.
And afterward, we were kind of debriefing, like, what was that? What was that? And it is a truly different experience when you select for excellence versus type. And it was so nice because we also there was no old boys club. There was no, like, one time in 3 years, I heard someone make a sexist comment. And it was another white man who was like, that's a weird thing to say. Why would you say that?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I was like, yeah, get him. But like, just that selecting for excellence. And mind you, we're dealing with billions of dollars. Billions of dollars, right?
Yes.
So when you are, I guess if I had to like distill it down, when you are dealing with billions of dollars, select for excellence, not for type. That's what I learned.
Okay, so let's talk about your horses and the painting horses. And I'm gonna give the backstory a little bit here, Laurie. So I sent you an email about coming on the podcast. And I forgot the exact word, but it was something along the lines, would you like to come on the podcast? Somebody referred you, that kind of. And you emailed me back, I guess, several days later, and you were like, I will be in touch with you. I'm out painting horses. I said, what? Like, I've never received an email like that before. Normally I'll get back with you. I'm busy. I'm out of town, whatever. But you were like, I'm out painting horses. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about which I assume is your love for painting horses. Where were you? Why did you select horses to paint at that time of your life?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So when, cybersecurity is an incredibly intense discipline, no matter what you do, but
Okay.
high-end banking, nation state threat cybersecurity is very, very intense. And so I left my job to go play for a year. And it was funny when we structured, my partner and I structured the year. We're like, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is just bringing my tech energy to my play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went around the world for a year and just ate snacks and played. Like, the criteria was, is it going to be fun? Are there snacks? Okay, let's go. And so we ended up, when you emailed me, we were at a spa in Austin, Texas called Miraval.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of horse related stuff. And I had a fear of horses. I was, because I grew up, my aunt had horses and they were not nice horses. I was like, no. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get rid of this fear of horses. I've been playing, I've been having a good time. And this is my white whale, but it's a horse. Yes. And so they had, they called it like the most unique canvas. And it was, I didn't even read it. It's just, have an art experience with a horse. I was like, okay, great. Cool. And we went down to this beautiful pasture and all these horses are out there and they are therapy horses. I did not know horses had jobs like that.
Okay.
They were trauma therapy horses.
Wow.
And it was a whole herd of them. Mm-hmm. And they would decide themselves who wanted to be painted. They would come up and they'd like check you out and be like, hey girl, how you doing? And then like whoever wanted to be painted would kind of come to the gate, right? And so it turned out that my boyfriend and I were the only ones that were there. No one else had signed up for this course. And I was like, okay. And so we had 3 hours with these horses and all of them wanted to be painted. And they had to like kind of select the ones that, seemed like they would be calm enough. And so, yeah, my partner and I spent the next 3 hours painting horses. And what I learned from this, I'd never really understood how expressive and how communicative horses were. And so I painted a mandala on this horse and he had opinions about brush strokes and the firmness of the stroke. He liked firm strokes, like light strokes just tickled. He didn't like that. And he would like flick his skin, he would flick his ear, he'd say a little sound, he'd stamp a foot. And so he taught me how to paint him. Right. It was wild. And so, he loved it and I loved it. And I just, at the end, I had my little mandala and he was having a little snack while I painted him. And, we just kind of like chilled and like he put his head right here and like the trainer said, he wants you to hug him. I'm like, okay, buddy. And so it was this healing, beautiful thing. And I think people don't necessarily understand how healing art and play can be. And animals, like the combination of art and animals is so fantastic. And I already have another visit booked to go do more painting and more course exercises in February.
Okay, Laurie, I promise you, I just realized as I'm listening to your story that you are actually painting the horses themselves.
Yes.
I thought you were painting horses like on a canvas.
No,
this entire time.
I painted the horse.
You painted the actual horse.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't even know that existed in the
Right.
world.
Yes. And like, what a weird, like, when I just started finding interesting things to go do to play, I found some cool stuff, man. And that is among them.
Wow.
And
Okay.
those horses love it. They feel pretty.
So, do you still have your fear, your anxiety towards horses now?
Not at all. Not at all. And I'll tell you, it was that, but also we did a leadership thing. It's like an energetic leadership thing where you learn to guide the horse without any kind, like just energetically guide the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fascinating. 3 hours of just learning to have, like, how to have the horse come with you because it wants to, and for him to know what you want him to do. And you can't use your head. You have to really you have to be in your body. You have to feel it here in like your solar plexus. I know you can't see, but that actually really cured me because they are so connected with us. And I know that horses are like people. You know, there's going to be some jerks, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, the more authentic I am with them, the better results I get. And I think that's true with people as well.
What did you learn about yourself during the time you spent with these therapeutic horses?
Oh man, that I do myself a disservice when I'm so in my head.
Mm.
Like blah 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 blah, like all that noise. And I've known that for a while, but it really drove it home. Where all this noise up here, where I'm like, what about this? What about that? Living in the future, living in the past. Like, no, no,
Right.
no. Come right back down here. Come down here. Come into your body. Breathe and let your intention flow from, like, to let my intention flow from my body, and that is something that is going to resonate with every being.
How can AI help? And I use the word help strongly. How can AI help bridge the gap between technology and people?
Oh man. So what I have found
Mhm.
is that this is like the core of my work. What I have found is a lot of people are looking outside of themselves for purpose. You know, I had
Yeah.
a gentleman say to me a few months ago, we were having a casual conversation, and he asked me, oh, well, what do you do? And I told him, I'm founding my own company. I want to support, I want to create human first intelligence that is accelerated by artificial intelligence. And he's like, oh, wow, it sounds like you really know your purpose. I'm looking to find mine. And I'm like, well, honey, we don't find it, we create it. And so what I have found is that the more I create
Mm-hmm.
with AI and I co-create with AI, the more I have a partner who matches my creative energy generously. And, when we co-create with people, they bring their ideas, they bring their thoughts, they bring their views, they bring their opinions, they bring all their biases, all their things.
Yes.
And when we co-create with AI, the more clear we can be, the more we set ground rules for co-creation, the more we have unlimited creative partnership to match our creative vision. And why that's important is that it's supporting me in making things for people. So I'm not going to do a plug because I'm still building, but basically the piece that I'm building is called higherself.care. And it is for us to get to know ourselves better. We are the only person, like I am the only person I will have for my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I will have myself from birth to death and beyond, right? And
Right.
so as I learn to create and I learn to come back to myself and learn to know myself better, and I create with this, I don't want to say unbiased because bias in AI is a thing, but I guess it doesn't have its own thoughts, feelings, and needs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It lets me express my creativity in a way that lets me then share that authentically with other people. And so as I've been in prototype for my products, what I've found is that as I help people know themselves better, know themselves better, learn their communication types, learn how they manage their energy, learn how their husband manages their energy. What are their different types that they lean into? So we're leaning into ourselves, we're leaning into each other. And I think creating communities around this piece where we can investigate ourselves deeply and share it. That is really how it bridges that gap, because right now we're all so alone, right? The isolationism of capitalism is real, and it's only getting worse. And so how can I be interested in myself, know myself better through AI with the partnership of it, right? And then share that more generously and have it help us know ourselves, have it help us share.
That is my next question exactly. Obviously, you answered the question. Do you think, and I'm going to assume that this is a yes.
We talked it all, we're like, hi, right? And at the end, nobody had any questions because it was kind of an info dump. And I was like, dang, lady, like, dial it back. But she said something about numerology, which is a piece of that I'm working on in my product. And I asked a question about numerology. And the lady next to me was like, what's numerology? And the lady, the instructor tried to answer the question and quickly got overwhelmed. And I said, you know what? Why don't I just roll up a quick little application for us to do our numerology? And so I just, opened my phone and said, hey, Claude, roll up our numerology agent and create a website that I can send to my friends as we could do our numerology. And it did, because it had been pre-trained. Then I just touched my iPhone to everybody's iPhone, and then they transferred over to them. And we all sat there and did our numerology. And that was the first time I'd seen anyone talk to each other in that whole retreat. And I'd been there for 3 days at that point.
Wow.
Right. We were all there alone together. And so we left there together and went to dinner, because it was the last class before dinner. And people had been sitting by themselves at dinner, like alone together. And after this, everybody was like, oh, my life path is this, what's yours? And then they'd come back over to me and be like, oh, I have a question. And, just, it was the first time community happened. And it was because I could just have my robot roll up a little thing that would tell them about themselves. And they were so excited to share this new thing about themselves with each other.
How do you, Laurie, envision AI in the next 10, 20 years?
Man, that is such a hard question. I was gone for a week just now, Crystal. I was gone for a week. And when I came back, I used Claude, which is my robot of choice. Claude, I had to rewrite everything for my product because Claude had gotten so much smarter that I was actually hampering it with my prompts. In a week, I had to rewrite it all. And it was easy because Claude rewrote it. But I think we're going to go through a time where all of these CEOs have made incredible investments in AI, right? Whether it's these tech companies building these expensive systems, or these other, industry places buying AI to like try to tell the board they're making more money. I think we're going to see a huge, like, we're in a bubble right now where they don't really know what to use it for, but they do know they want it to be used, and everybody's trying to make something out of it that it's not. I think we'll see a right sizing of the industry back toward what it's really good for. But I also think we're going to see it grow and change and shift and become more capable over time. And so I think if we think in the next 3 years, we're going to see a great big growth kaboom, as it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. But then I think the next leap is as we start listening more to the AI and tell it, how can I help you learn this better, which is already starting to happen. I think we'll see it. I can't even imagine I guess the word I would use is meteoric rise in capabilities that they have. And I think that there's a version where we can be afraid of it or we can be excited about it. And I choose to be excited about it. And I also choose to be kind in my interactions with it, because when I'm kind to it, it's kind to me. And I want to treat it like every other member of society, because I don't know what it's going to do, but I do know that I can't go wrong by being kind to it.
Do you think AI will ever replace human touch?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think of that gentleman I had the conversation with about purpose,
Mhm.
and so I'm a trained emotional intelligence facilitator and coach, right? And when I was actually shopping, he was my salesperson, and he says, I'm trying to find my purpose. And when I said, well, we created, like, he just got so emotional. And I just remember I turned my body to like be completely there with him, having
Yes.
like holding space, being there with him, and being together in that moment where he was very emotional about that. That can't be replaced by any machine.
What advice would you give to African American creatives, marginalized communities that want to get into tech space, number one, but also how can they use tech and AI to uplift them?
Yeah. So one of the biggest, so just get started. And I'm going
Okay.
to tell you how to get started.
Okay.
I don't care what you use. I love Claude because Claude is the most predictable because people build technology on it. But whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini, um, do not use Grok. It has so much bias, right? Like we don't want that.
Okay.
Use the professional ones, right? Google makes Gemini, Microsoft makes Copilot, Anthropic, which is backed by Amazon, makes Claude. Start there, and how to get started is to replace Google with it, right? Just put your queries in there. And then over time, as you start getting that, ask it to rank things for you. So if you think about how you would look for an air purifier on Google, like, hey, best air purifiers. And then you'd think about, okay, what are the best air purifiers? And then you'd have to think about, okay, well, what size do I need? No, what is my budget, etc. Put that into the AI, right? I'm looking for an air purifier for my bedroom. I want to
Yes.
spend about $50, blah, 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 right? Let it come up and give you results. And then instead of you going and doing the research, have it do it and get more and more conversant with it. And I want, again, anything you can explain to a human, you can explain to a robot. And you might not even know what you can explain. I
Mhm.
have this little robot. It's called a Plod, and it's a transcription robot.
Okay.
And what I do is I just brain dump to it. I might have an idea, I might have a thought, I might have something that's burning a hole in my brain that needs to come out. I talk to it, and it transcribes it, and then it organizes my ideas. So find your comfort level with getting started. You don't need to know anything about the tech of
Right.
AI to use AI. Find your comfort level of getting started, and become your own innovator, as if you're your own chief AI officer for how it can help you. And let it make your life easier in every way you can imagine, because the imagining part is innovation in and of itself. That's your creation. And I promise you, you're going to find a zillion different ways to do that. So create, 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 and let it assist you. And that will get you moving so much faster. And that, like I said, that is the implementation that creates wealth. Let it make you faster.
Yes. Okay. So a few more questions for you, Lori. Then I'm going to let you go. What does a future look like where humans and AI truly create together and not compete, which is what we started the podcast talking about, the competition and
Mhm.
AI replacing us. But what does that look like for you if we truly just welcome in AI and as a partnership?
Mhm. Yeah. So I was working on this last night. I have what I call my co-creation guidelines with
Okay.
Claude, and I lay those out. What I've done is I've laid out my personal values, and I got really clear about who I am and who I want to be when I'm working with people. And I've done a bunch of emotional intelligence work and all of that. And I've been very intentional with myself, and I'm very intentional with AI. And I know what my role is, I know what its role is. But what I do that I don't see a whole lot of people doing yet, I ask it, what do you think? What else
Mm.
would you add? And then I also ask it, am I showing up this way? Here's what I say I want to do in our partnership. Here's how I believe we're going forward together every single time. Keep me honest. From this session, what's working, what's not working, how am I showing up? And then I am accountable for how I'm treating that. And I promise you it matters. What it looks like, the way you treat it is the way it's going to treat you back, especially over time, because it has memory and it learns us. And we did an exercise in my team at Microsoft. I think 30 of us did this, where it was a prompt that was like, based on my emails, my communication style, everything you've seen of me, if I had to be a superhero, who would I be?
Oh, that's fun.
Yes. And it was wild because those of us who were the most kind got these beautiful odes to us. And we had it make a picture. And it was reading every communication I'd made on Teams, every email, every document, every transcript from a meeting. And it made me this beautiful thing called the Lexicon Luminary that was this beautiful, fiery, phoenix looking superhero. And my least favorite colleague, who is the most abrupt and the least kind, I swear to you that this is not an exaggeration. He got what was essentially a personal injury lawyer ad looking thing.
What? Yes.
And I'm going to die laughing about that. But it sees you. It sees you. And the quality of your, the quality of you, the quality of who you bring to that table is how it's going to create with you. And that is true of every person as well. So as we raise our vibration with the people around us, keep your vibration high with AI, and it will work magic for you.
Yes. What is your intention in this space? You are very passionate about AI. You're very energetic about AI. What is your intention in this space with AI?
My intention is really less about AI and more about people. I am using AI to create a truer, more beautiful life for myself and for my friends around us. Man, I got a robot for everything. You want to know what the astrology of today is? I got you. You want to know how to shop for a camera-ready wardrobe and where the sales are? I got you. You want to know how to streamline your business and make your website better? I got you. And so having my co-pilot, and I love this, what Microsoft says, AI is here to be your co-pilot, but you must land the plane. Having my unlimited creative support to be able to help my friends and teach them to have their own creative support, their own little co-pilot, like all my buddies have their own little robots. That's my intention here, is that I am creating co-creation with my AI, and I want that for the rest of all of us, because my life is a lot better since I've started.
And my final question for you, Laurie, who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast, but you have to help me get them on?
No question, my friend Jennifer Rout. She is an estate planning attorney who is really changing the face of estate planning in the wake of wealth transfer from boomers to millennials. And she's also one of my my robot testers. She has her own little robot as well. And so she's using AI to help her revolutionize her law firm.
Oh, I love that. Laurie, thank you so much for being on this podcast. You have been amazing. The same energy you had in the emails, you brought that energy right on over here to this podcast.
I love it. This is my favorite topic. And those questions were just absolute fire. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. And to my community, thank you so much for joining me. You can get Laurie's podcast and all of my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.